Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Scorpio. If Scorpio is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, then this is a message for you. And you can hear my cat. That is TT. She is letting you know she's in the room. Okay, let's get started. All right. Let's see what do these tea leaves have for us today? I was kind of wondering if I would see like a mother-child. And I kind of wonder. And I say that because we have the Empress card here, okay? And this is the Empress from the Thoth deck. And this is very in line with that kind of Earth Mother, divine feminine energy, which is interesting that this is what I pulled today because as I am doing this reading, it is Earth Day. So it's kind of that Earth Mother energy all over the place. Okay, so the first thing that I really caught my eye here was the image of a person kind of riding some kind of animal. Okay, it doesn't necessarily, it almost looks like a dog, right? But for the purposes of this reading, and really the symbol that comes to mind for me is this kind of wild woman, wild feminine archetype riding a beast of some kind. Okay, and this doesn't necessarily have to be Babylon, or as we know, Ishtar is seen with the lion. Durga with the tiger, I believe. And well, a lot of the, there are animals incorporated with most all deities, right? But just off the top of my head, thinking of these different archetypes of where they are actually riding the animals. But really, kind of this energy of what I think of always as the build and destroy. Kind of really that great mother energy, the giveth and taketh away, right? The cycles of growth and decay or death, decay, and then the renewal process. Okay, and those are all attributed to, in the greater cycles, to those great mother archetypes. And so this obviously is very much in line with this Empress energy. I think that there's a big focus, and I know that last reading for you, Scorpio, there was some amount of discomfort within your private life, with people just kind of politicking among your close, maybe relatives or friends group, just kind of a socially difficult time in general, okay? So I think that it makes sense that there is a sense of turning away from all of that and really focusing on your own power, your own universe, your own home, your own, mind, body, soul. Really wanting to nurture yourself, nurture your environment, and a lot of growth, okay? Going through the variety of processes that we have to kind of make the soils ready for those seeds to sprout, right? And so doing some of that difficult work to drive out the impurities in our in our growing soils, or in our heart, mind, and soul, right? And by impurities, I don't mean anything specifically being impure, but this is kind of the word that is used in alchemical allegory. But these are things that do not serve us where we are at right now. These are things that kind of distract us or lead us down kind of a fool's errand, right? Things that drain us emotionally, physically, psychically. Things that just, become coping mechanisms, survival methods, tactics and techniques that we've picked up along the way, but they don't necessarily create the state that you need to be in to kind of do that deep growing and evolution that you might be looking for, okay? So I think that this archetype is really coming up in your psyche, in your kind of psychological space, because it is something that is so ruthless about tearing away all of the extra stuff, all of the pomp and circumstance, all of the things that we kind of tie around our necks that weigh us down, all of the emotional turmoils that are unnecessary, all of the material things that we invest our time and resources into that really just are not, they don't produce any enjoyment or necessity in our lives, right? So this energy really kind of, it just comes in and it helps you clear all that stuff away so that you can, and then you can think of this kind of like when, excuse me, when the winter is over and we go out and we prepare our garden beds, our flower beds, we rake away the rest of those old leaves, we put them in the compost pile, or wherever you get rid of them, and create this open space so that you can plant, and this new cycle of life can begin again, okay? So let's see, what else do we have? I'm really interested in this one. It looks like almost a person, kind of maybe in a dress or maybe like a little robe. And then this other person who looks like they almost have like a top hat or something on. But they kind of look silly, like their legs are dancing around, okay? And it almost looks like they're in an embrace of some kind. I kind of, what this brings up in my head is this kind of, almost this like trickster spirit kind of emerging in your life where, it's almost like these just silly, they seem meaningless kinds of like cosmic jokes, right? But not to the point where it's like devastating, but just like little things that come up that are just so kind of bizarre. Like they don't even make sense that they would be like, you know, a joke or silly or whatever, but it's kind of so absurd that you have to kind of laugh at yourself. And I feel like this is kind of where you're at with some things. Like you just get to a point where you get so frustrated with like the other parts of your life that aren't going well. And this might be in that kind of social aspect we've been talking about, or, you know, being at odds with family or friends or whatever, not feeling very social, just kind of focusing on your own life. And as you are undertaking a variety of tasks, things just start to like, you know, sometimes things go wrong. Things like aren't where you put them, or, you know, like something falls and breaks and you don't know how, or, I don't know, you know, just, I mean, all day long, I feel like this is my life constantly, right? With just like, with having animals and a young child, it's just like a circus all the time. So, I think that really this is the energy of just when everything's building up and it's ridiculous, you feel like you can't stand one more thing going awry. You just have to like stop, take a breath, and kind of laugh at the absurdity of the situation. Okay. And, you know, I think that this is very much in line with the feeling that I'm getting about, and I want to look at this one here as I'm saying this. We have kind of this vine, right? It looks like some kind of plant that is growing. It looks like it's doing well. It's some kind of maybe a ivy or some kind of vining plant, like a morning glory or something. Or is it honeysuckle? No, not honeysuckle. Yeah, I think morning glory vines. You know, trumpet flower? I don't know. A vining plant, okay? Up a trellis or something. Anyways, as this is as this is happening, right? As you are getting into a place where I think literally starting to grow things around your house. Maybe you will have a garden. These processes of beginning to, if you have not ever grown things, even if you're like a seasoned professional, even if you do it as a living, there are so many things that go wrong that you just don't even understand why. So many things that you have to kind of go over again and figure out, what did I do here, right? Also just like trying to figure out intuitively what each kind of plant wants, when it wants it, is it too much, is it too little, whatever, all these things. It's kind of like a real learning curve, right? So I feel like this kind of makes sense even with this kind of trickstery, like getting frustrated. But I really think that it will be so beneficial to employ those moments where you are using breathing techniques, you are kind of doing soft self-talk, kind of de-escalating your anxieties, and, you know, just being on the edge of maybe raging out. But also just the process of learning how to do something like growing, or, I mean, you could have had gardens your whole life, right? But if you start growing something new, a different kind of vegetable, flower, whatever, fruit, it's a whole different thing. Every plant is different, okay? And every season is different, right? So I think that this is really such a wonderful meditation for anybody, such a wonderful process for anybody. I have spent most of my life around, although for a while, there was like a 10-year gap where I wasn't really around a lot of plants and gardens and stuff, but growing them anyways myself, or around anybody that really was either, besides like some house plants or whatever. But I grew up around people who grew things. I had family that had gardens, and you know, my family grew things, and we always had some house plants and stuff. So you know, it wasn't totally out of the realm of understanding. But as I got older and I started doing my own growing, I mean, I had to basically like teach myself again, aside from the basic things that I knew. And, you know, I think it's just, there's so much love and frustration and commitment. I mean, that's a big part too, is the commitment to it that goes into it. It is such a healing process, and it's a process that you have to learn to let go of things that you love so much, especially in climates like where I'm from, and especially if you have animals that will eat your plants if you bring them in for the winter. I'm a little tear going down my face right now. You have to learn to let things go as the season goes, and they start to, you know, wilt and perish. And you know, last year was hard for me. I had some really beautiful flowers, and I really wanted them to survive, and they didn't. But it was definitely a meditation in letting go, not coveting anything, and letting life take its course with the things around us, right? But also, I mean, the dedication it takes to making sure that you're out there every day, you know, watering and looking things over and weeding, and for me, just trying to philosophically decide what is a weed and what is not a weed. I have this like deep like urge to just be like, oh, these are native plants and they deserve to be here, but then they're like choking out the things you're growing. I mean, it's just a whole thing. So you really do spend so much time contemplating the details of this life, and I think that it's a wonderful process. Okay, and so if you have the time and you know, just even the interest at all, I really recommend, if not starting a whole garden, maybe you know, having one plant in your house or on, you know, your deck or something. Plant maybe like you could do tomato plants in a pot. Really easy. My daughter grew tomato plants last year, and they actually had so many tomatoes, we had too many tomatoes. But you can do those as well. And just spending the time to do that, and then, you know, really, and of course, let me just mention, I know that all like everybody's living in different places and climates, and you know, you have to kind of look into what you can have where you are. Like, I have lived in apartments a lot in my life, so I understand it's hard to sometimes have the room. One thing I will mention though is a lot of places have what are called community gardens, where you go and sign up, and sometimes there's a fee, but usually not. And you get a little plot of land, or, you know, a little plot of soil, and you can go there every day or whatever, and you grow whatever you want, and it's like a community space. That is definitely worth looking into if you live somewhere where you cannot have a garden, or you don't have room for like potted things, or you just don't have really the right light or whatever. Okay, so that might be something to look into as well. And I've really gone off on a tangent about gardening. You can tell what I've been thinking about a lot lately. We're getting to that point where I'm just ready to start planting some stuff. And it's too cold yet. Okay, now I want to look at this one too. This one looks like, it looks like a dragon, but it's in a restful state. You can see its little tail up here. So I feel like this really is a period of time where, as I had said, you've turned away from some of the stuff that's been going on that's really been emotionally charged for you, and you've done a really good job at disengaging. You've done a good job at kind of being at peace with yourself, at least to the point where you're not going to let others make you react in a way that you're going to regret or feel guilty about, or you know, have to clean up this huge mess afterwards. You've really been kind of pouring that serpenty, you know, fiery energy into other things, okay? And a lot of it, I think, is the self-work and this desire to grow different parts of self and really just kind of orient your life in a way where you're feeling a lot of comfort and safety. Your home feels like a sanctuary for you. You are doing things that are not, you know, overly emotionally stimulating in ways that are uncomfortable or feel negative. And so that's so great. I applaud that. That is not easy at all. Let's see here. I want to look. I'm seeing this kind of just little lizard here. And I'm trying to figure out, where is he going? What is he doing down here? And it looks like an H to me, although it has kind of this little part here. So I'm seeing this little lizard, okay? And for me, I think that is really related to two things. One, just kind of this idea, like visual of an actual lizard just kind of going out into the sun where it's warm and just kind of sleeping and taking in that energy, right? But also kind of the salamander, which is the elemental related to fire, but also the fire, it's the fires that kind of give life to everything, that give that life force to all of the mechanisms that keep our mundane or base reality going, okay? So I really think that this tells me that you, by going into this kind of socially disengaged from the problems, really focusing on your own life, you are really igniting these fires to like get your whole system running properly, get your whole life set up in a way that makes you feel like you just can keep going. You're not getting burnt out, not waking up like, God, I don't want to do anything today. I don't want to do this. Why do I have to do this? No, you're setting up your life in a way where you wake up and you're like, okay, I'm gonna, I have these things that I want to get done today. I'm excited about it. At least you're content. You don't have to be in a joyful, excited state all the time, but content, just kind of, flowing through the day, right? Not worried about all of the stuff that is going to happen, or what is this person going to say? How are they going to pop off? What are they going to do? All that stuff is just kind of on mute right now, okay? So you're really, really taking in that, like, it's like a deep charge, right? Your vital resources are being replenished right now. And so I think awesome, wonderful. I'm very happy about this. Happy to see it, happy to see it in the bowl. And I hope it just keeps going this way. And also I'm really interested to hear if you do take on some plants or new kinds of vegetables this year. I'd really like to hear what you're planning on growing. And so you can leave that in the comments. and let me know what you're going to be working on. Okay. So we have this little bird kind of sitting. It looks like a little songbird. Okay, and we have some of these pieces that look like they're kind of moving here and there. We have a little heart right here. Okay, so I feel like this is setting up of that kind of sanctuary place. I think though, you know, there will be times where it's like you get so comfortable in the environment that you have created for yourself that there will be kind of moments where these big emotions are going to kind of arise and spill out. But I don't think it's in a way that is destructive or damaging for you. I think that this is like when you get so you feel so held by the universe, so free to kind of purge some of the things that you've been carrying, and you can do that in a way that is safe and not controlled, but like it's not going to become chaos, right? It's within the context of a place where it can come out, and then you can process it, and then you can kind of pick up and keep going, right? And I think that that's so important. It's so important. And as you get through this kind of cycle of things happening, you're going to come out on the other end like very renewed, okay, and ready to kind of move into that next chapter, right? And I think with kind of a freshness and like that being super like where I think you felt pretty depleted before, you're going to feel very recharged, okay? Also, I think that you are developing better boundaries and possibly like communication skills, or where you don't need to say anything. I think that's the big thing, is working on where to kind of temper some of those reactions for, you know, where other people are trying to get negative attention from you. You are tempering your reactions and not feeding into that. And that's a big thing. Okay, Scorpio, I thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate you, each and every one of you. I am always so honored to bring these messages to you. If you would be so kind as to like the video, it helps me get into the algorithm, and that's helping the channel grow and all of that kind of stuff. If you have not subscribed, please think about doing so. You can hit the little bell, and that will let you know when the next videos come out. Other than that, just I'd love to hear from you. So leave a comment. Let me know what's going on with you. Let me know if you're going to do some gardening, and let me know if you have any plans about what you're going to be planting. I'm always very interested in these topics. So I definitely will be getting back to you if you leave a comment about it. All right. Thank you, Scorpio. We will talk again in about 1 week.